Hey everybody, what's up? You know, you can see the title down below. It's basically my review and thoughts on Super Bowl 47. And unfortunately, being a 49er fan, the 49ers, they didn't win. But they did come back, and it looked like at the very end they were going to pull it out. But, it wasn't meant to be, and, there's always next year. And I believe next year is going to be the year. I mean, this is the way we look at it. This is the way we look at it. All right. This is the way. This is the way we look at it. The Niners got to the Super Bowl after after nearly 20 years, and they almost won it, which is pretty good. I apologize a little bit. Got a little bit of a headache, a bit of a hangover. I guess it's a bit of a hangover. I don't know. But anyway, they basically they came close, and it just wasn't meant to be. But I think, and I'm not trying. Now, I know people are going to get on me about this, and they're going to say, of course, you'd blame them and all that. Well, when you think about it, folks, it does kind of seem. It does kind of feel like it. It felt and seemed like that. When you look at it. Basically, the refs blew a lot of calls. Let's be honest. They blew a lot of damn calls last night. And I know some people will say, well, of course you're going to blame the refs and all that. Well, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to blame the refs on certain things. Now, I'm not saying that the Niners didn't get some of these penalties by themselves. They didn't earn these penalties by themselves. They did. But there were some penalties that should have been called on the Ravens, and I think any fan knows this. There was calls that should have been made. And obviously they weren't. And you could say, well, what are you talking about? Well, there were several face mask calls that should have been made. One was on the Ravens, but there were a few others. And there were several flags and penalties of, holding on to the guy, of holding and stuff like that should have been called, but they weren't. And what got me is that the head ref, the one ref, I can't think of his name, that did the coin toss. One of the penalties he called, he was, I guess it was on Baltimore. But here was the thing. It was one of the calls that was on Baltimore. And he ends up pointing first in San Francisco's direction, and then it quickly just points in Baltimore's direction. It's like, and I look at that and I think something's amiss here. Why would he suddenly just all of a sudden be quick to go there and to go like, oops, go over here? See, something's amiss. And it kind of probably tells me that perhaps him being in the NFL for 7 years and being in his fifth postseason game, I'm guessing, or fifth postseason year, I'm not sure. Either it's his fifth postseason game or year. To me, it's like this guy obviously is still inexperienced. Because you don't mess up like this. Like, oops. And it kind of tells me, perhaps, and maybe I'm wrong, and I know a lot of people will correct me on it, but I'm thinking, in a sense, that maybe he was showing some favoritism towards Baltimore. And here's why I say that. Ever since, with all due respect, ever since Ray Lewis said he was going to retire, it's like I said in my predictions. We pretty much knew the Ravens were going to get there. But I think, in a sense, this referee, along with several other refs, maybe was showing some sympathy towards Ray Lewis and this being his last game. And maybe they will probably be a little biased at times because they wanted to see him go out on top. Well, you know what? It's fine to have sympathy. It's fine to be a little biased, but not in a game like this. You let the players go out there. You let the players play this game, and you let the teams and the players determine who walks away with that trophy. So, to me, it was a good game, kind of controversial, very controversial, and obviously got one of the highest ratings in history. But to me, the referees, especially the head referee, they blew some calls. The NFL, I know, probably notices this. They probably see this. They're going to probably go back and look at it. And I'm guaranteeing you by next year, they're going to probably, and I'm hoping and guaranteeing, but maybe not, that by next year they're going to have some refs in there that are more experienced, and they're going to say, okay, look, we know some of you might be fans and all that, but you got to be unbiased. You can't show any favoritism. Now, as far as the rest of the Super Bowl presentation, again, the game was good. The 49ers came back like they've been doing a lot this year. But again, I think it's just some of the blown calls and all that just didn't work in our favor. But it was a good game, and it was definitely a game of first. I will say that a game of first. First time it's been in New Orleans since Katrina, and it was the first Super Bowl I think of in history that's had a power outage. Literally, it had a power outage. Basically, around about a few minutes in or so, or something like that, into the third quarter, all of a sudden, half the lights go out. If not most of the lights go out, or half of them. I mean, here you hear Jim Nantz, and all of a sudden, he's talking, and all of a sudden, he gets cut off, and you're thinking, what the heck? And all the power goes off. Now, we don't know exactly what happened, why it happened. A lot of people are speculating perhaps the halftime show maybe contributed to it. Some might be speculating other things. We're not really sure. Me and my family were kind of joking around thinking perhaps somebody that's a 49er fan said, I'm pulling the plug right now. This ain't going to happen. Maybe, we don't know. But whatever the reason was, it was a nearly 40-minute delay, but the game did resume. Now, to me, it was a first because I'm thinking, wow, this is kind of weird. But it did, some people might say it did give the 49ers time to wake up and say, hey, look, we're going to get back into this game. We need to get back into it. And they did. Now, I will give Baltimore some credit. When they did the fake punt at the end of the game, they did not have to give the 49ers those 2 points. They could have easily had the guy run out and be done with it. But they didn't. They gave him the 2 points to make it look quicker. And I think that's out of respect. I think John Harbaugh basically told his team, look, fake it, but get the 2 points so at least my brother and his team can feel that, they gave us a good game. And I think that's out of respect. They didn't have to do it, and out of respect, I'm happy. And, honestly, out of respect, they didn't have to really do that, but it does show they have respect for the Niners and for John Harbaugh's brother Jim. So, they didn't, like I said, they didn't have to do that, but they did, and I think it's the first time a team's ever done that. The opposing team, the victory team, if you will, the victorious team, would do that. As far as the rest of the night, the Star Spangled Banner and America the Beautiful were done beautifully. The kids did their best. Did their best. Jennifer Hudson did her best. You could tell she had a lot of emotion into it. Alicia definitely had a lot of emotion. Definitely upped her game with the Star Spangled Banner. And then the halftime show. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, was like, wow. You know, Beyonce really had something to prove here. She really upped her A game. Basically she went out there. She had something to prove, and she proved it. I was happy to see the reunion with her fellow Destiny Child members and Kelly and Michelle. So that was really nice to see. And again, it was very energetic. You could definitely feel the energy coming from that. Very, very well done. So overall, even though it was a very controversial Super Bowl that was full of firsts in several ways, I thought it was a good game. And again, unfortunately, the Niners didn't win. But out of respect for Baltimore giving up the 2 points that they didn't have to do, I do send out my congratulations to the team. And there's always next year. There's next year. It's like the old saying: we were this close, and it's gonna make the Niners want it even more next year. So, but that's just my thoughts and review on last night's Super Bowl. Comment and video response down below. I'll talk to y'all later.